Hi, it's Ileana. So today I'm going to be reviewing the recent interview between Diana Pasulka, who is the author of American Cosmic, and she's also a professor of religious studies. And she had an interview recently with Jesse Michaels. I found their interview very interesting because I had just gone on YouTube and I had recently posted my new remote viewing on the crucifixion of Jesus video, and I saw a thumbnail for what turned out Diana Pasulka and Jesse Michaels talking on his channel, and the thumbnail of that video was featuring Jesus being taken away by ETs in spacesuits. I didn't know that interview was between Diana Pasulka and Jesse Michaels. Had no clue. So I clicked on that video and I stumbled into the Jesse Michaels interview with Diana Pasulka, where she is discussing having an association of knowing a NASA mission controller, aka by the name of Tyler. That's a pseudonym, but for the book, she had to call him Tyler, who also works for a clandestine secret space program. Immediately, I was like, this is going to be interesting. I will continue to watch this and listen. And as I started listening, it became very, very intriguing. So this individual is able, the NASA mission controller, he is able to download any information that they want to have access to, especially the biomedical, biotechnological stuff, and start new companies. So when I heard that, biomedical, biotechnology companies, this person is able to access with their mind information that would take about 4 to 8 years for a medical professional to learn to become a doctor, but he's able to access that stuff instantly to open up biomedical and biotechnology companies, to patent those companies and have that as a business. How do you do that? How does that work? So that intrigued me. So according to Diana, this person can use their consciousness, thought consciousness, to access anything from the universe and anything from databases, probably computers. They can send out their consciousness to connect with energy and frequency and access these things. It's organic thought consciousness. Or they may have an implant, like Neuralink implant, that allows them to stimulate their brain, amplify their ability, psychic ability to access things, to connect to technology. So this sounds like they are well trained as a precog to do this, or they're trained in precognition protocols to be able to access unlimited amounts of information and target specific types of medical, biomedical, biotechnology information to open up these companies. This sounds very familiar because in planetary corporations, I had the Neuralink implants to download anything I needed, or when I was sitting in a Neuralink chair, I had access to any data found in existence that could be downloaded into my brain, into those Neuralink implants. Full disclosure, I don't have those Neuralink implants now. I had 4 of them in my brain and a neuronal net connection to those implants, which connected to the neurons and axons of my brain. Those implants were removed with psychic surgery. I don't have them anymore. I don't advocate for such implants to put in your brain to expand out your psychic ability to be able to download whatever you want. I do not advocate doing that. But this individual either has an organic ability, precognition ability, precog, psychic ability to use their thought consciousness to access anything they want, or they have some sort of an advanced implant that does this for them. It allows them to do it because it amplifies and augments their brain to work as a psychic, as a full-on psychic, precog. Those are just possibilities of what's going on here. Or again, maybe they're using some kind of a thought consciousness technology that they're linking up to with their mind to do this. There's several variables and possibilities here. I'm not going to speculate what the technology is or if it's organic thought consciousness, but I'm just listing the possibilities of what it could be that this person is using or tapping into to achieve this, tapping into to get this achieved and done. So it seems like Diana's connection with the male who can download information is connected to specific style of protocol training that Planetary Corporations is well known for, because that's how they train their assets and agents to do this type of work, either through Neuralink implants or conditioning you and training you to use your own mind organically through your own thought consciousness to tap into various fields of information and technology to download things. My training was as a cybernetics technician. It was as a cybernetics technician with holographic medical pods, bodies, smart suits, neurology, immunology, and biological drug serums. That is why I know medical stuff that I should not know. I repeat, I should not know but know, because my brain is trained, even without these implants, to just download infinite amount of data and store it and put it in compartments. And I have an idiotic memory where I remember everything and I can access that information in my brain. That's how my brain works. So by normal standards, I should not have access to doing subcutaneous immunoglobulin therapy, SCIG treatments with human plasma, but I do, because that was the medical knowledge imprinted in my brain from the Neuralink implants info that was downloaded into them on Mars in the cybernetics lab. I worked with all kinds of biological drug serums, creating formulas, injecting that dermally under the skin to acclimate secret space program assets to be able to breathe on Mars with different plasma antigens and agents. That was part of my job. Diana's contact could either work for Planetary Corporations, Time Corporation, any other secret space program on Earth and off Earth. There's many of them, as they have agents in all aspects of organizations they work in. You could look like a normal person and be an agent or an asset for the SSP secret space program. This sounds wild. This sounds way out there, but it's really not. It's part of that secret space program infrastructure network. Diana said that her contact, they went to the Vatican. They went to the Vatican astronomy section, and a bunch of astronomy scientists recognized her contact. They knew who he was. They went into the astronomy observation facility where Vatican astronomers work. And the younger scientists working in that astronomy observation facility recognized this individual. So they knew who he was because he's part of the programs. and they had a conversation with him in the astronomy observatory, and they recognized him, they knew him. So that was interesting what she described. And again, all of this information is written in American Cosmic. For whatever reason, Diana is now openly talking about this experience because she's known this individual for a very long time. They're not a young person anymore. So this person worked in the 1980s as a NASA mission controller. 1980s and onwards. Then they were drafted to work in a secret space program on the side because something was special about them in whatever way. Something with their mind, their consciousness that had the ability to tap into information sources from zero-point energy, to tap into the grid of everything in creation, to download information, because information exists everywhere in the field of energy and frequency. You can tap into it and download things. Download information. I do it all the time. By large amounts of information. I don't even think twice about it. I just do it. My mind is trained to do it. And it does not overload my brain because it's like a supercomputer at this point. I'm not a genius. I don't think my IQ is higher than an average human being. It's just an ability that I was trained to do and can do. Not smarter than anybody else. I can just tap into various informational nodes of learning, teaching, and understanding, and self-teach and self-learn and be self-taught that way to learn what I need to learn for my own advancement and soul growth and evolution. So Diana had mentioned in that interview that the NASA mission controller had gone to space on various missions, and there were emblems of various goddesses included in the flight material, indicating that the individuals part of these programs may believe that there are higher dimensional beings involved who guide humans on their journeys of exploration in space and beyond. There's spiritual religion involved in this. There's ritual magic involved in this. There's higher thought forms and connections to something else out there beyond human existence that they potentially believe in and are trained to believe in. That's part of the secret space program training. It's all part of it. Spiritual religion is different from standard religion. So there's a differentiation. And Diana is a religious studies professor. And the fact that she's connected to this individual and talking about him, that's groundbreaking. It's connected to the secret space program and what individuals are capable in doing in consciousness, thought consciousness connection. So it seems that Diana's contact sounds like he's getting older and probably is no longer in these programs at this time, since she spent almost 1 hour outlining what he did, and I immediately realized by the description of all of this who he potentially worked for. Neuralink implants and Neuralink chairs are unique in that they allow the user to download infinite amounts of information, but it's better to train the mind to naturally and organically do this instead of relying on implants or technology to stimulate or amplify the mind as well as the brain to become a neuronal grid for informational downloads. I do not advise or recommend getting Neuralink or Neuralink implants to advance psychic ability. I do not advise it at all. I don't recommend it. I've been there, I've done that. It didn't turn out well. Those implants malfunctioned. I had brain inflammation, I had brain swelling, I had neurological damage. That took time to reverse even after the implants were removed. I prefer to work organically with my thought consciousness abilities to tap into informational downloading. There are protocols which this guy apparently is trained in to do this, or he might also have an implant. I don't know. Diana did not talk about implants. She just talked about that this guy somehow was able to download information to start biomedical and biotech companies. That he was able to use his mind somehow to do this. Again, and he was part of a clandestine secret space program. When you put 1 and 2 together, you get something else. Put that 2 and 2 instead of 2 and 1, you get a 4. There might be technology involved in this. It might be natural, organic, some kind of thought consciousness protocols that he was trained in to download the info. Various variables and possibilities here, but it's connected to the secret space programs, off-world and on planet. And they tapped a NASA mission controller into this other extra program to do this stuff. Nobody seems to talk about the off-world secret space programs or even say their names. Like in the mainstream media of UFO, UAP communities, they don't even allude to the extra parts. But here it is. The evidence is connecting the dots, listening carefully to these interviews and catching these tidbits of connections. So I found the interview between Jesse Michaels and Diana Pasulka fascinating for me because I know a lot about the secret space programs, and Jesse studies stuff about UFOs, UFOs, extraterrestrials, thought consciousness, multidimensional information. He has created a documentary with David Grush about UFO stuff, disclosure. He is a friend of David Grush. So I've listened to Jesse Michaels a few times when topics about UFOs, UAPs, secret space programs come up. That's what I'm interested in. I hope he does more interviews like that. He's also interviewed Gary Nolan and others who are interconnected to the UFO stuff. And that's more mainstream stuff because Gary Nolan is an immunologist. But Diana's contact took Gary Nolan and Diana Pasulka out to a site in US that is a site of a crash site retrieval, recovering a UFO, a UAP, where there were bits and pieces of material scattered around in the desert in the US. Very remote site. Diana was blindfolded. Gary Nolan was involved, and this individual who was the NASA mission controller and worked for the side, off to the side in the secret space program, he knew where a UFO crashed and where the crash site retrieval happened in the US. So he took Diana and Gary Nolan and some other people to collect material that was scattered. After the military and the CIA were done retrieving everything, bits and pieces were still left in a more remote area where that crash site happened. So Diana was taken there, Gary Nolan was taken there, they retrieved things, materials that the isotopic ratios are higher than what normal craft are made out of from those materials. So she also talked about that. So this individual has information on UFOs, crash site retrievals, reverse engineering programs, maybe even that he has info on. So this thing is opening up further and further about secret space programs, reverse engineering, crash site retrievals of crafts. This is coming out as information that is not really speculation, but fact that hasn't been talked about in open disclosure, but it's coming out. And this topic fascinates me, and I will be doing reporting on such topics because this is part of my paradigm experience and what has happened to me, and I want to explore this further. So thank you so much.